Welcome to another episode of Under the Barbell Strength podcast. I'm your host, Colton Haynes, and if this is your first time tuning in, we'd love for you to follow and subscribe. Feel free to leave us a comment with any questions or topics you'd like for us to cover. The purpose of this podcast is both educational and an opportunity to showcase some incredible coaches I've had the privilege to meet throughout my journey in the strength and conditioning world. I think listeners will enjoy the diverse range of guests who will share their experiences in coaching, enhancing athletic performance, nutritional strategies, speed training, and exploring the mentality of being a strength coach. By uncovering the weight room philosophies and strategies that make these strength coaches successful, you'll gain valuable principles to elevate your own team's performance. So join us as we grow together one conversation at a time. Joining us today is Coach Matt Vargas, who is the Director of Strength and Conditioning at Upper Iowa University. Coach Vargas received his undergrad degree from Chatham State University, where he also played college football. After his playing career, Coach Vargas started his internship and later grad assistant at Chatham II and later at University of Arkansas. Coach Vargas is currently the Director of Strength and Conditioning at Upper Iowa, where he holds his certifications with the CSCCA and USAW. Welcome to the show, Coach.
Hey, I appreciate it. Thanks for having me on, and it's an honor. I love listening to you. I know you just started this up, but I've been listening to them for the last 5 episodes now that you dropped, and I'm just grateful to be here, man. I appreciate it.
For sure. Well, it's going to be a good episode. 2 reasons. 1, we get to talk about strength and conditioning, and 2, you're a highly recommended guy. So, not all these other coaches are really wanting to hear what you have to say, and so it's going to be a good time.
Yes, sir. I look forward to it. It's going to be it. We're going to have some fun. I hope we can get into some serious topics and kind of talk about some struggles of what it is to be a Division II strength coach.
For sure. So tell us about your background and how you started.
So, I do no justice if I didn't bring up E.J. Crease. He's the director at Chatham State. He pretty much took me under my wing when I got into college and really opened up the doors for me. Let's just say weightlifting wasn't what I wanted to do when I was in high school, and I was kind of a troublemaker, and he kind of just sat me down and had that open door policy where, when you're struggling or something. And one day I just went in there and we started talking about the Lord, and then that kind of opened up the doors to me saying, like, man, he's more than just a strength coach. And then I kind of fell in love with it. But when I graduated, I actually didn't want to be a strength coach. I was trying to become a police officer. And so I went and got a GA-ship, just trying to get my master's paid for, and then one of his spots finally opened up, and he was like, just be a strength coach. You're supposed to be a strength coach. Like, this is what you're meant to do. And I was like, all right. And then from there, the rest has been history. I haven't let go of it. I've fallen in love with it. Long hours is kind of what I like about the job. We work. So interned at Chatham. I've also was a GA, and then I went to a coaching assistant, which is like restricted earnings. And then I was interning at University of Arkansas for 2.5 years, and that was a blessing. To be honest, that opened up so many doors just on views from Coach Walker and Coach Ed Ellis. Those are 2 men that changed my life. They really poured into me. Walker took me under his wings. Being a intern, there's some dark times there and a lot of work, and so I was very blessed. And then I got the call to come up to Upper Iowa, and I said, let's do it.
So talk about your time at Arkansas. You go from Chatham State to Arkansas. What is that like?
Yeah, so D2 life, we struggle to have everything that we think we need, and then you get to an SEC program, and it's mind-blowing of how much they really do have and how much time you can put into one single team. My first team I ever coached was track and field. And then I go and start building relationships with different kids, and you get to the SEC with Arkansas, and it's a whole different ballgame. You spend 12, 15 hours, and you're constantly thinking about their kids and what we can do for their bodies and how to develop them. And learning the fourth quarter conditioning was the biggest blessing for me. That's what I run to this day. It's not so much of a program, but more of a mindset and how to develop. And just being able to travel and, learning how to handle yourself as a professional on the main stage when things are going chaotic. How do you perform and how do you handle that? And that's really what Arkansas taught me. Coach Walker poured into me, and I want to make sure I give him his credit because he didn't have to. Him and Coach Ed Ellis, they done wonders for my career and really just showed me what it means to be a strength coach, showed me what hard work is, and we don't do this for the pay because I'm going to tell you, how it is. The long hours and the amount of time we spend at home and things like that, that's what Arkansas opened up the doors for me for.
Yeah, what are some learning things you learned at Arkansas that you brought to Upper Iowa?
That fourth quarter conditioning, really. So Coach EJ Crease really
And
taught me
explain
how.
fourth quarter conditioning for people who haven't heard of it.
So I don't know if I'm gonna do it any justice, but the way I think and the way I talk about it is it's a mindset. So we're gonna be at work capacity. So we're gonna build up. I'm gonna put as much work as I can on the kids. I run 4 times a week. We lift 4 times a week in the off season. We're gonna get after it. We're gonna slowly build up. Around week 7, 8. That's when I'm probably gonna be reaching for a little bit, and then hopefully it matches up with when we're gonna try to have our fall break, our spring break, and then that's when you flip into that next mindset. So like we're in pillars. So like quarter 1 for us is gonna be winter condo, and then when you get down, like just to kind of break it down easily, quarter 2 will be spring ball, and then summer you have quarter 3, and then quarter 4 is season. And when people put their fours up, like to me and hopefully the people that I'm representing, my family tree, like that means something to us because that's where we train, and it's something that we saw here at Upper Iowa that finally kicked through. I mean, before I got here, they won 1 game in 5 years.
Yeah.
My first season here, we won 3, and then last year we just won 7, most in school history, and we won 4 games in the fourth quarter, putting up 20 or more points. Like when the fourth quarter comes, when people start wearing down and they get tired, like that's when we just feel like we're about to get going. Like that's when we see fear in their eyes or blood in the water, we want to attack it. It's a mindset. It's built off of 3 pillars for me: attitude, effort, and discipline. That is what fourth quarter is. I mean, you're gonna have the attitude that no matter what comes at us, we're gonna go after it. The effort is relentless. You're gonna have relentless effort, whether it is tying our shoes, we're trying to compete. If we're getting on the bus, we want to be the best at getting on the bus. Everything we do has to have effort, and then the discipline part. That was something that the little tiny details. Coach Crease at Shadden State, when I was at interning in the GA and then the coaching, he really opened my eyes to like the littlest details, the staying behind the line, and that's kind of what fourth quarter is. It's not so much of a program. There's no, I run. I'm not tied into anything. We might go Russian. We might, go conjugate. It's just what the kids need based off the KPIs that I see, and then some of the other stuff that we can discuss here, hopefully.
For sure. So you talked about the fourth quarter and everything that you're bringing it to UI. Talk about the responsibilities you have there at your school. What teams do you have?
So we have 16 NCAA teams. A program for 7 of them: football, wrestling, baseball, men's basketball, women's basketball, softball, and I used to do volleyball, but I just let them go. And no offense to my volleyball girls, but you guys can handle yourselves now, and I'm proud of y'all. So make sure I get that in there.
Yeah.
But I mean, the task is a lot. We don't run just one program. There's no such thing as a one-size-fits-all. Every program needs to have their own individual workouts. When we train, it's not, you won't see a football player doing stuff out of volleyball. I mean, there might be similar lists. We're always going to have the base foundation of what I want to see in the room. But I have an incredible staff. I brought one of my boys from Arkansas. He was at the University of Arkansas with me. He went to Jack State, and I was begging him to come because he completes it. Being a great coach, being in my position, you can't be great unless you have a great staff. And so they kind of really they fill the holes that I can't. And I might be good with how I talk or one thing or another. Like Coach Ivy, Cole Ivy is his name. I believe that he does things that no one else can do. He understands the data and understands what I want to do. He makes it right and tells me, hey, this is, more, what about this? Like he always is willing to question and challenge and, bring more to the table. So working with those teams, it's a blessing though. Honestly, because not only is it football, and I'm a football guy. Everyone knows it on campus. We train every team hard. I don't believe in soft love. It's going to be hard love no matter what.
So talk about your staff. You said you brought somebody with you from Arkansas. Is it just you and him?
So we just got a GA finally approved. That was something that right away we're fighting for. When I got here, our school cut everything. I mean, we lost like 4 sports, lost some staff members, and so I walked in and it was just me and one other staff member. Coach Iverson, he got to go ahead and move on, and he's got a great job now. And then I was able to bring in one of my guys, Coach Ivy, and now we have a GA, Coach Gabriel. he's doing a great job for us. He's young, he's green, and he's really willing to learn. And so they all help with football. Where it's all hands on deck when it comes to football, but they have their own teams, and their priority should be those teams, and I want them to grow in that. Coach Ivy obviously is predominantly going to help me with football because that's his bread and butter. He's good with the data stuff. He's good with the data and understanding how I want things to flow. So
is it him like maybe more speed and you do the weight room, or like how do y'all trade off with that?
So that's going to be, I don't want to say I oversee everything. I'm always going to make sure that, hey, this is the vision I want to go in, but I always make sure that he's in the room when we're discussing programming and the speed stuff. Right now, he's actually, I kind of loosened up the grip a little bit, and he's running our January speed stuff. So on how we want to do it, same vision. I mean, we speak the same language, so I'm not too worried about the guys, and the guys respect him, and he can command a room, and we're getting what we want. I mean, out here in Iowa, it's cold, and we're still going to go outside.
Yeah.
You guys know, you guys played in the snow, right? Division two, all Division twos, game twos were played in the snow. So we're trying to get to that point. That's what we're trying to build, and so he's doing a great job with it. I'm excited to see how he grows into this new role of, hey, this is on you. Imagine I'm not there. I need you to be able to, because every good assistant should want to take my job, right? So we're trying to make sure that we build him into that scenario.
What foundation do you try to teach these kids, whether it's girls, guys? Is there something you're trying to, help them out with life? Are you trying to instill what you believe? What is that?
So I am a that's what I'm a player's coach. We talk about life more than anything. I mean, my Bible sits right here on my desk. I'm a big believer in the faith. This is Walk with God, so it's daily verses. You're guaranteed that I'm gonna be preaching. I mean, they always say if I ever give them a double whistle at the end of the workout, they know, hey, just pop a seat because we're gonna talk about life. I believe in. Let me backtrack a little bit. 80% of their career is gonna be spent with us.
Yeah.
As strength coaches, not their position coaches, no one else. So it is my job when I look at a parent and we're recruiting their kids to make sure that they understand, like, this is what they're going to get at me, and I'm very blunt with them. I do the same thing for everyone, whether you're a football wrestler, it doesn't matter, but as a freshman, you're going to come in and we're going to learn how to manage our time. Whether that means I got to stay here until 8 o'clock at night to help you with homework, to make sure that you understand, hey, classes, school, they're going to have girls and guys are going to be talking to each other. Learning how to manage that, understanding the workload, how to be a college athlete. I feel like people just assume they're just going to pick it up. So I try to work them through that, and then as a sophomore, we're going to get into more of the how to take care of ourselves outside of school, whether that's going to the grocery store, teaching them how to cook, using Traegers, using Blackstones, gas grills. So I do teach about life a lot. I feel like I'd be not doing a disservice to the Lord and to these athletes if I did not help them grow and mature as a man. And we always talk about, we want strong, independent women. We want them to understand that they don't need nobody. And the men, I just talked about it with the baseball team. We just got done with baseball a few hours ago, and it was like, hey, great lift, great energy, but let's talk about life, right? As a man, you need to treat a woman right, and we kind of get into things. And so we do Truthful Thursdays. That's one of my things that I believe in. I took that from the University of Arkansas, Coach Walker. Thank you. He always let the team speak whatever was on their mind, and that kind of opened up the doors to a lot of things, allowing us to really fixate on problems that are going on. And the more you know about an athlete, the more you can understand them. And, not just know the surface, but truly know, like, where they're coming from, what their background is. And don't be scared to show your own background. I come from a broken home. I love my mom and dad, but divorces and all these other things, like, I'm very transparent with the kids when I need to be. And they open up to me because they know I'm going to do it with them. I'm not going to leave them behind. And at least that's how I hope they feel. So we do talk about life a lot. That's how I relate to them. I get them to run through a wall because they know that I'm the one person in their life that's never going to change. I wear all black every single day. I try to be the most consistent person in their life every single day.
I love that, man. What about challenges that y'all have?
How long we got, Coach?
Sure.
No, I love my university. But we're a small Division II school. We're private. We don't have, funding from the state. So everything we do, we have to fundraise for. When I got here, the floors were all popping up. It wasn't even safe for the kids to be training in the room. So that was my first obstacle, was just how am I going to fix this? Fundraising is something I never thought I'd be doing as a head strength coach, but that's what I do. I mean, I
Yeah.
fundraise, and I don't mind it. I've raised a good amount of money here in 2 years,
Now, what do
and
you do to fundraise?
so that's something I was going to bring up with you. So there's a bunch of different things. So I looked into dairy farm out here in Iowa that, you can do interviews and sit down with their CEOs and stuff, and they like to write checks. I mean,
Yeah.
they really do. And so they wrote us a nice check to kind of donate here. And then it was more the athletes. I mean, the athletes reaching out to their family members and talking about what we're doing in this room, and people would just start calling me and saying, "Hey, I want to help support you and what you're doing and trying to get you to grow." And I don't like reaching out for money. It was more of just reaching out to, I had a couple people that I knew really liked strength conditioning right when I got here. And I just kept continually calling them every month, letting them know, hey, this is where we're at with the athletes. This is what we're doing. Never asked for anything, never. And to me, I think that's what's best about it. It's not so much, hey, can we get a donation? Can we do this? It's more of letting them know, letting them be a part of it. I mean, putting their name on the wall, even if they don't donate money, because they support the athletes. They might show support in one way or another, and that really opened up the doors. And I mean, I'm very blessed with our donors. We've rebuilt the weight room pretty much from the ground up, and we're in a small dungeon. I wish I could show it to y'all. Like, I love it though. It's small and it's beautiful. We have a beautiful floor, nice turf inside, great racks. Power Lift is the one that outfits us. They're very old, but we make it work. And we got some equipment. I've been spending money here and there when I think it's necessary. But I always say all I really need is a room full of kids, and we can get better. Whether I got barbell or dumbbells, we're gonna get after. That's the mindset we're gonna have, right? You got to be willing to run through a wall, whether you have the nicest jersey on or not. You better be ready to play.
Yep.
So I always try to tell the athletes, like, don't pick us because we got the shiny things. 'Cause I don't want shiny. I want work. So
What other challenges?
that's one of the challenges is fundraising, but the other one is just managing your time. I mean, I got 7 sports that I run, but I try to get to at least every sport. I try to make sure that I'm attentive to someone at some point, whether it's just stopping by and saying hi for a few seconds, or making sure I go to the calf and try to eat and sit with all the athletes, just be around them so they know, like, hey, I'm here. I miss that. No one prepares you for that. And, just trying to learn to manage people. I'm a bull in a china shop. Like, I'm coming in, and that's what I told them when they hired me. I said, I'm coming in to make change. And I think some people were more like, oh, he's just saying that. And it was like, no, like, I'm coming. And when I did, I didn't stop, and I'm not going to stop. And I'm always going to push for more. I don't settle for no. There's always a way, whether it means I got to work a few more hours, or I got to write my own check to donate so I can do what I want to do. I'm going to figure it out and make sure it gets done, because these athletes deserve it. And they deserve someone that will always go to bat for them.
For sure. And so we can start getting into the meat and potatoes of everything.
Yeah.
We can talk about philosophy. What are methods that you use at Upper Iowa? What is the base foundation of your programming?
So, philosophy, when I think about philosophy, I think of one saying, repetition builds instinct. And meaning, if you do something wrong, you're going to build an instinct. You do something right, you're going to build an instinct. And that's what our program's about. We're about doing things right. We do simple things savagely well. So, I mean, for the pick, say one thing that I run, I can't tell you because it's what the athletes need. So, like right now, I'm going through a mix of an APRE 6 style, trying to get some volume on some of the kids that we need to. But like our O-line, D-line are running a certain program. Our wide receivers on a certain program. One of our wide receivers on his own individual program. So it really just based off of what they need and putting in the times. The APRE 6, that's what I ran last off season, and I fell in love with it. I put my own spin to it always. Being able to put that much volume and do it in a correct way and still add that 4 days of running, to me, that's what made the difference for us, of getting us over that hump of finishing out games and being strong in every quarter, every asset of the game, whether it's in the trenches, trying to hit top end speed, or just moving lateral. We always are gonna, so like basic philosophy will always be acceleration on a Monday, change of direction, extensive conditioning, and then Thursday is gonna be max velocity, and Friday is gonna be Chaos Friday. And Chaos Friday is 8 station, 4 station. Maybe it might be, Fayette Mile. We just ran that last Friday, 2 degrees outside, and put your sweats on, we're going. And I run it with them. I always lead everything that if they're gonna do it, I'm gonna do it with them. I don't let them ever do anything.
Wow, I
that
love
can't
that.
do.
That's awesome.
I believe that as a coach, to get someone to believe in you and run through the wall, you got to be able to do it too. You got to, you can't just talk it. You got to be a part of it. You got to, show up every single day and train and run. And I'm old. I'm not that old. Don't get me wrong. I'm young in the field, but like my body is beat sometimes. Like I got some rough knees, my shoulders. I tore my pec. Like I've been through it a little bit, and I always say, like, if I can wake up every single day and still compete with you guys, you're not working hard enough. You should outwork me. You guys do this every single day, day in and day out. You should outwork me. And so that's what I challenge them. I said, don't let me be the best athlete on campus. That's a problem. I'm in the wrong business if I'm the best athlete. I want you to beat me in everything we do. I will wrestle with the wrestlers. I jump in on the mats with them, and they throw me around. And I'm not a wrestler, but I get in there and I try to, because one, it makes sure that they go hard and continue to move forward as I'm getting in shape. But so Friday is Chaos Friday. To me, that's the staple of our program. That fourth quarter mindset, when the lights are down and it's crunch time, who's going to show up? Are we going to persevere? Are we going to bundle up? And I'm not ready for it. I'm not built for this. I mean, the kids always say, built by Vargas, but really it's built by themselves because they fell in love with it. They're the ones that do the work. They're the ones that go in and put in the hours and the extra hours and the yoga and stuff like that. So a little bit about like how we train. Off season is going to be Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, Friday for football. Wednesday is also going to be a day, but it's an optional day. And that optional day is going to be a pure yoga day. We're going to come in for roughly 25 to 35 minutes, and you're going to stretch, recover. And then we always have some type of prehab, rehab, either in the beginning or the end. I've been early in my career, I love to do it in the beginning because I called it an extra warm-up. But now I've been more liking it towards the end of it. I'm getting better adaptations, I think, more reduce of soreness after the workout, just going through some, band TKEs, PVC around the world, some thoracic rotation stuff, decompression of the back, little things like that, that to me have found great change in our responsive recovery.
So those Wednesdays they come in, are you leading it? Are you throwing something on the TV?
Yeah, we got stuff on the TV. Also, that's a good time to allow some of my younger coaches to try to lead. If you can't lead a yoga group, you can't, to me, you got to learn how to lead a warm-up before I let you do anything. And so that is a good time for me to really watch them coach, and can they give cues, and can they, control a room when it's supposed to be relaxed and keep them focused. Not let the chit-chat get too wild and goofing off and just going through the motions. So we're pretty hands on deck at all times. Now on those Wednesdays, they have to ask us to train them. Now, that's up to them. So when they ask us hey, can we come in? Yeah, we always make sure that they come in and get that work in.
Yeah, and I was going to ask, is it like open hours or is it a time slot they come in?
So it's open hours and a slot, if that
Gotcha.
makes sense. I have too many teams I do have 2 weight rooms, which I am blessed to have.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Like my main weight room, the one that I'm in, is 12 racks, but the ceiling height is maybe 10.5 feet. Can't jump in here. Can't. Like my basketball players, we can't push overhead because it hits the ceiling. I got to go to the other weight room, and then the other weight room, it's standardized, 20 feet up in the air, but it's just a little smaller, but way more space to be able to do things. So like we'll split the rooms up pretty well. So like I'll have, like if O-line and D-line are training, but I want to do some, high intensity depth drops and weighted stuff, we're going to go in the other room. So we'll be running back and forth. And it's
Is it
just
far
down
walk? Is it close?
Yeah, it's about 35, 40 yards from the other weight room.
Okay.
So, and it's still in the same building. We just open up the door, hang a right, and then take a left all the way down. So it's not too bad. But yeah, so that when they come in on Wednesdays, it's optional. But we always try to make sure we help them lead it and get it done the way. And that's also, so like this year I'm doing platoons and trying to give more responsibility to the team. We always say that it's a player-led team. Whether I'm there or not, the standard is the standard and you should be able to do it. So there'll be moments where I'll walk up and I'll just hand the whistle to one of the players and I say, lead the warm-up. And those to me are the best warm-ups because they know, like, we got to bring it. Like, they never slack. I think the greatest thing that I've ever had was my baseball team was in here, and I had a meeting, a random meeting that came in. They came in as soon as so 15 minutes early means you're on time for me. And as soon as it hit the clock, they knew I wasn't out there. They just started the warm up, and they ran through it perfectly. And then one of the guys did the pre-talk and talked through the movements, and it was one of those moments. It was like, hey, we got a good culture here. We really do have a good culture, and what we're trying to implement throughout my staff is it's impressive.
That's good, because I was going to ask you the culture question next. So you covered that. You talk about being sports specific, being able to, different kind of workouts for different guys. How are you training your skill mid compared to your big guys?
So based off of yardage, so we were lucky. My head football coach, Jason Hoskins, he is a big supporter of the weight room. I mean, he pretty much says, for these next 12 to 15 weeks before spring ball comes, he's like, you're the head coach. Like, yeah, this is your world. You just tell me what we need to do, and let's implement it. And I asked to get some trackers, at the catapults, but we go through SPT. They're pretty good to us, Game Tracker. And so we put those on the guys, and we really noticed, like, I was putting on roughly 2,000 to 3,000 more yardage than we even got in the game, or even at practice throughout the whole week. And I noticed for the last 2 years we've had no soft tissue injuries. And that's more by the grace of God than any of my training programs. And I want to make sure I make that clear. Like, that's just, we got lucky. But I also do believe in what we do. I mean, we run 4 days a week. When it comes off season, you're going to be running. When you go in season, we're still going to be running. Like, protect the hamstrings. We train hard on Sundays. These are the things that we're going to do. So I kind of got a little off track. You want to question me one more time?
No, you're good. I'm just going to ask how you train your big guys compared to your skill guys. Are they doing different kinds of lifts?
So we do. So, like, for my big guys, they're gonna run twice a week, and they're gonna have a +1 day, which is gonna be a real high intensity. Whether that's gonna be, I do a lot of this like slam ball, med ball things. We got 60-pound slam balls, we got 80-pound slam balls, and 100-pound slam balls. And so some of it's going to be wrestling, and they're going to be pushing the balls, they're going to be lifting it, throwing it, but it's on a cadence, like 10 seconds on, 5 seconds off, 10 seconds on, 5 seconds off, and we flip it. So that's like one of our high intensity days. And then they're still going to do an acceleration day. D-line usually, they don't run more than 20 yards for me. They might do it abundance of times, and we might be changing direction. We do a lot of box drills, we do a lot of hoops, making sure they can bend and figure eight it, and just kind of show up. So when coach comes over to me and he's like, I need him to do this, that's what they're going to be able to do. I want to make sure that what the coach needs is what they're going to get. And so we try to keep them game ready, in shape at all times. I do believe that I might lose some size in how much I run, but the strength doesn't go away throughout the season. So their acceleration day is never going to change, and their deceleration day is going to be part of the same day. So that's something I do different than pretty much the other positions. They're going to train ACEL and decel on the same day. And then they don't do a max velocity, and I could be wrong. I could be missing out on adaptations, but if my O-line or D-line are running more than 30 yards, that's a messed up play. And that's a bad play, and we don't need that. Now, we had a D-lineman scoop and score, and he ran 50 yards, and he didn't get caught. But we didn't touch 50 yards once all off season. But we trained consistently. So that ACEL, decel day to me is special because it's the bread and butter of what they do. It's their foundation. I mean, they're getting after it. They're learning how to decel. They're learning how to come from a shuffle. They're just basic athleticism. And you can't teach athleticism, but when I was little, I was hanging on monkey bars and I was trying to jump off of trampolines. So we're doing the same stuff when I was a little kid. I mean, we're bear crawling, we're perfect bear crawling, we're flipping and rolling, we're locking up, and we're wrestling on the football field. I take them up to the wrestling mats, and we get a 30-minute, here we go, one person in the middle, 4 people around them, 1-minute intervals. That one person in the middle, though, is staying in the middle. And so he has 4 minutes of just getting people shooting on him, and he has to wrestle and drive at them. And then the sleds and the tires and the hammers. I mean, that's the foundation of what I'm about. We push sleds. And we push heavy, we push light, we go fast, we go hard. We push and pull. So we're going to have ring rows, I call them ring rows, but just handles. And they're going to pull 100 yards with a sled with maybe 2-3 plates on it. And they're single arm all the way 53s. And they're coming back the other arm. And then they're going to go and push it. And then they're going to backpedal with it. We try to build up and take pressure off the knees at the same time. And then when you look at the mids and combos, I train them so they run 4 times a week. But their 4th day is not including Chaos Friday. Friday is more of that high intensity like a big guy. When we wrestle, the combos are in there wrestling. But the combos are hitting their A-cell, D-cell still, and their change of direction. And then their max velocity day as well. So they get a little extra work. My mids and combos probably work harder than anyone because they have to have the most volume because they got to be able to block a 300-pound DN or D tackle and then also be able to outrun a 180-pound safety. So, we want our kids to be physical. The way our offense is ran, they run through the tight end, and so our tight ends have to be, mean and nasty. And so I try to make sure that's the type of program we run, mean and nasty. And like this program right now that we're running is called Meat Grinder. I like throwing weird names up there. Like, we're going to thin some people out, and I always say I don't ever want to run a kid off. But this program ain't meant for everybody. And like with that recruiting, like that's what I try to be as blunt as I can. I spend a good hour to hour and 15 individually with every recruit that we bring in. And just show them the program and explain what we're going to do. And then I tell their parents, call me in 6 months if I lied. And so far I haven't had no parents call me, but I have a lot that show up to the games and say, you're true to what you say. And I say, I appreciate that. And then our skills, we put a lot of volume on them. We're hitting boxes, SID. We're making sure that we're opening them up. This year, our big focus is more of the top end speed. We were so much better. I wouldn't say we were dominant, but we were so much better at getting that, first 15 yards. We were quick in and out of our breaks, but we didn't train so much at the top end. They just weren't ready to handle it. I mean, my kids, no offense to anyone that's ever came before me at Upper Iowa, but they didn't train. And, there wasn't a great standard of what I wanted. And so I built the foundation and I laid it down as much as we could. And we reiterate, we beat it down into them to make sure that when we want to go to the phase we're at right now, we're truly able to go without having to slow things down. The technique looks good. Their squat, their hang clean, their snatches. If I want to snatch, their push jerks, their push press. All those movements look good. And now we're able to add them and actually put some weight on them. It's going to be an exciting year for us, I believe.
For sure. Take me through a full week if you were a football player. Are they lifting at 6 a.m., running in the afternoon, and then kind of go through the week?
Looking at, let's just say, an off-season week, on Monday we have 6 a.m. run, so it really means 5:45, and we're going to go until however long it takes me. And then from there, they're going to now come in, so we'll have tight ends, linebackers, and quarterbacks training at 2 o'clock. And then we'll have 3:15 is going to be my O-line, D-lineman. And then we'll have skills, which is running backs, wide receivers, and DBs. They'll be at roughly 4:30. Sometimes those have to get pushed back 15 minutes just because we might be holding them a little longer, or it could be on a Thursday where we got to do Truthful Thursday, or we get to do Truthful Thursday and kind of move forward with that. So give or take, that's what their day is going to be. And then we'll also have like our nutritional talks around noon. A lot of the guys will come in and we'll sit down and break down the nutrition. Ivy does a great job of getting, we call it a DEXA scan, but it's not actually a DEXA scan. It's just our version of it, and it's easier so the athletes know the name, and it's a lot easier just to explain it that way. But we get their body percentage, and we sit down and try to break down, hey, this is how many protein, carbs, and fats you need to eat. One of my challenges that I probably should have brought up was getting the CAF to understand that this is an athlete-dominant school. We have 500 students, and 416 of them are athletes.
Wow.
So that CAF, needs to make sure that we're putting the right foods, and our CAF has done a great job. Airmark is a company we outfit through. They've done a great job of trying to not make me mad, as what the athletes say, but I've been real receptive of what we're trying to get done here. And our nutrition center, they had something when I got here, but now it's something to be proud of. We have the cherry juices, we have Uncrustables, we have granola bars, apple sauces, protein. We got fully outfitted by Black Label Supplements. They're an incredible supplement that is trying to build something. They just got NSF approved. They're trying to build something, and we're doing the same thing. Our goals match up to each other, and they support Upper Iowa a lot. So we're able to give kids the correct amount of protein, and actually, now that adds more time to us. That's challenges. That's why I say, we are turning over. Our turnover is fast. We don't have time to be wasting. We get in and get out, but we're also doing 8 to 12 different exercises in a lift, and still, getting the running in the morning. supersetting here or there, or complex setting, however you want to say it, and then continue to move forward. Like, we got something that wouldn't be possible without some of the support that we do get here at Upper Iowa.
Okay, and then we transition to the summertime. Do you have
Yep.
a lot of people stay in?
Yeah, so when I first got here, I walked into a team. I got here in March. March 1st, I believe, was my first day. And I got here and we had 52 or 54 kids on the roster. And I was like, all right, here we go. And they just, 70 kids quit. I mean, we haven't won in a while. I get it. I understood it. And so when I first got here, I was talking about summer, and they're like, yeah, we don't stay, coach. You guys don't pay us. And I was like, you think every football player, Division II coach, our kids are not staying and getting better? And, we can't make it mandatory because we can't.
Yep.
But we do a good job of pushing it on them and finding them jobs. And so my first year I had 33 kids stay, and I was excited about that. Last year we had almost 80. And so, 80 kids stay, and we won 7 games, most in school history. To me, those go hand in hand. And so our summer days is going to be based off of what they can. So we try to push early. So sometimes we're at 5 a.m. because that's what worked for the kids. And then I'll be here at 5 a.m. But we try to be around that 5:45 start time a.m. and go up until 7:15. Try to get a little bit more work on and slow things down a little bit too. In June, that's quarter 3 for me. But in June, I'm not trying to win the game in June. I'm trying to build off of what we already did in quarter 2. So everything we do is a build up of one another. So what I get in winter, I'm not trying to accomplish everything I want in winter. No, that's just a stepping stone and the foundation to get to spring, see how we handle the work and the volume that we put on them. Where can we still find it? And then June, that's going to be 4 times a week, running and lift. Mostly emphasis is more on the lifting part, except for the skill players. They're going to be getting that volume on them a little bit faster, and I saw great effects from that. I really do think that is the right way to go about it right now with the kids that I got. And then going into July, that's when things are going to change just a little bit for me. At fall camp, you go 7 straight days in a row, at least for here we do, and then you get a day off or 6 and 1 day off. So I got to get them as close as they can to handle 6 days in a row. So we're going 6 days in a row for football. We're going to go Monday through Saturday. And that Wednesday is only going to be a run, though. It won't be a lift. It will just be a run. And it's not invasive at all. It's not, punishing them through the ground. But it's a good, 900 yards there. And then I'm going to get, 1,500 on max velocity day or whatever it is. Now, hard running yards, I'm scratching the surface. Roughly on a Thursday, we're trying to get to around 350 to 400 because in the game, the max I've ever seen so far for our athletes is 252 yards, top end speed, which for me is 17 miles an hour or 16.1 miles per hour and above. And so we're trying to keep our kids, being able to hold that for a little bit.
Now, how much are you changing from last year in the summertime of this year? Are you keeping maybe the same recipe or mixing a little bit up?
The same foundation. So that same foundation of we'll probably run and lift the same amount, but the volume and the yardage is probably going to change. We look at the KPIs as much as key performance indicators for anyone that might be listening that doesn't understand. But we look at those and really kind of break down what we did this season. Where do we think we lacked? Where do we think we can improve the team? But our philosophy is going to stay the same. I'm probably going to look at running 6 times a week again in July because that led us to success. But the lifts and the training, that's probably going to change. I mean, it's changed dramatically. We're still running a version of APRE 6 for certain movements of our program, but we're also running a little bit of rushing in some areas. My bench presses are our pressing movements. I'm running a little rushing, and then I have a little conjugate added to that, and then the APRE 6 is for the back squat and the front squat. We squat twice a week. We're going to press twice a week, and we're going to do it. We do it to a safe manner. I mean, I haven't had anyone get hurt, but we also put volume on them. Put volume on them fast and hard, and we move weight. My big thing is I don't max out as a strength coach. And this year the kids have been begging me to, and I tell them I'd rather see you move 405 for 10 reps versus you move 505 for 1. So we try to get to a heavy, 90% if you want to go off of numbers. 90% and say, all right, let's move this. Our goal is if that's what we think your 100 is, by the end of this, I need you to hit your 100 and move it for more than 1 or 2 reps. Like, we always try to get to 3 or 4 reps, and to me, that's what it is about. Because football and any sport, you don't just get one shot. It is
Yeah, form
repeated
starts
amount of
getting
effort.
bad once you start maxing out. So I try to stay away from that as well.
Yeah. I mean, that's probably why y'all be winning national championships.
Yeah,
Make sure I wanted you guys to know this guy knows what he's talking about. Don't listen to me. We need to get
no,
him on the podcast and just
man,
have him
like you
talk.
said, we were lucky too, and we didn't have any injuries, and so we stayed healthy, and you just got to maintain that standard throughout the season. It's a long season, and you start like you said in the summertime, and you're going till Christmas. Right before Christmas Day. So long season, and you got to be able to know where to bend and where to stick them.
And that, to me, that's the biggest thing in our field, right? It's not being so tied to, like, here's our Monday script, like, not being so tied to what it says on the paper. Be truly able to adapt and change. And as a strength coach, I feel like that is something that I see lacks so much. Everyone's so into focusing on so much on one thing. It's like, no, this is what we have to do. Like, I only program out maybe 3 weeks, but I look at it every week. Like, my program, I might say this is like the ballpark of where I want to be for the next 3 weeks. But week 2, it's like, no, I didn't like that. We need to run that again, or I need to put more emphasis on this. So we'll push this out of the way. I can make that up in spring for quarter 2 or quarter 3 or quarter 4. It's just trying to get all your ideas and understand where we're trying to go and listen to the kids' bodies.
We'll have games where we kind of get a big lead on them, and we'll pull our starters. So they're playing half a game. We can hit it hard that week in the weight room.
Yep.
They still want to go. And luckily, I have the respect with the athletes here where they want to be better in the weight room. They
I hear that.
understand it. And then
And
we'll have
that's
games
kind
where it's
of,
really close, or a 2-score game, and they play the whole time. That's the time to pull back as well.
and that's the thing. So we, like, in season, when we look at it, we do the 30 above and 30 below. Like, if you're taking 30 snaps above, you're gonna have your own program, because there's only gonna be maybe 15, 16 kids. I'll write an individual program based off of what they need. I mean, my job is to serve these athletes. We are in service of them. So if I got to stay up 5, 6 extra hours to make sure that they have what they need to make sure that we get through the season healthy, that's what they're going to get. But if you're playing 30 or below, and you're just maybe, say
We'll
we,
get after it.
yeah, we score 70 points, and we're on, our kids on kickoff are running back and forth.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're coming in and you're lifting, like, but no matter what, throughout my program, on Sundays you come in and we squat.
Yep, same here. Same exact thing. We'll mix it up whether we front or back squat, but we're doing some sort of squat that Sunday.
Yep, 100%. So, I like when we break it down into it, like, we hit 90% going into our last game, and smoked it for, I think we hit triples, because I give them the rep range 1 to 3, and that's what our kids are built for. But I do believe it's because of how hard we go throughout the year. I don't believe in pulling back because, oh, we're in spring ball. And as long as you and your head coach understand what you guys are trying to get, I feel like that's be a great straight coach. You got to have a great head coach
For
who
sure.
understands, like, I'm here to serve him, and what do you want me to say? Like, what is your vision? And then I put it into my own words and how I am, because I can't change who I am. And so just taking that and putting it into perspective and allowing the kids to grow. But I like that you squat on Sundays, because
Yeah, I love that. The guys are getting off the bus like, oh, front squats tomorrow.
Yep.
I'm like, yeah, let's get it.
And, like, this
They
year
buy
was the
into it.
first
They love
year.
it.
This year I changed it up a little bit. Like, my first year, we had the bar on their back 11 weeks, and I was like, okay, there's better ways to do this. So, like, I came up with, we don't have all the fancy stuff. I don't have pit sharks and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So we made homemade ones, and we were able to take the load off them, but put more load on them, like more intensity. But that load wasn't on their axle. We weren't axle loading them, so we were truly able to push and keep volume. And we had 23 kids PR almost every week on their vertical, and it was like, that's awesome. But then I was looking at it and I was like, this doesn't matter.
Yeah.
Like, I know we're getting stronger. Like, so I know one of the questions we'll hopefully talk about today is, like, technology.
Yep.
I'm not big into it. We have it, and that's what my assistant is really good at. I mean, he loves the technology, and I support it 100%, but I don't need a VBT thing to tell me how fast the bar's moving. If you're a coach and you can't tell how fast the bar moving, you're in the wrong business. You should be able to look at the bar and be like, yeah, he's moving fast. Ed Ellis he talks about coaching eye. He's one of my mentors. Like, he talks about the coaching eye and how to truly see things for what they are and understand that you're not chasing something else, and being able to just analyze with your eyes and know if they're doing it the way you want it to or not. I don't need a little timer to tell me, hey, you should add 5 to 10 more pounds. Like, no, I'm like, when I first got here, Upper Iowa, they were like, oh, what percent? No, just put this on and I'll tell you where to go from there.
Yeah.
And we did that for 8 months. They never even saw a percent chart. It's based off, and now that's hard on me because I had 54 guys. Luckily, it was only 54. But I was remembering 54 guys every single time, and I had a notebook, and I was just writing it down, right? Now I had him here. Didn't like 275. I'm going to change that up. Let's take it down to 245 and hit a couple extra reps there and try to get that volume on him. But
yeah, we'll get into the technology after the in season.
Yeah.
So talk about the frequency in season. What are you trying to achieve?
So in season, my big thing is I want us to be stronger than we were coming into the season. Mm-hmm. And that is hard because that takes buy-in. It takes, like you said, my kids love to train. But I also tell them I don't give scholarships out. There ain't no weightlifting scholarship, so your focus needs to be on football. But it's when you can go and you have you always show up to work, whether it's with a big spoon or a bulldozer, and you're scooping out work, right? If you come in with the spoon that day, that's fine. We'll still attack that, that pile that we got to move. But if you come with a bulldozer, we're going to go in there and we're going to attack a little bit more. And so seeing that, so on Sundays, we do a roughly 25 minutes worth of running, whether that's some slow joes or I call them build-ups. We do some build-ups. We're trying to make sure that those hamstrings are getting a little bit loose, but we're not touching, I'm not making them sprint 80%. And that is one thing that our kids did a good job of understanding. Like when I say 70% of 100, I truly mean I want you to run 70% of your 100, but at 100% intensity. Like the idea of go after, but at 70%. And our kids did a good job. We do a lot of, so I call it my three-way runs. So we'll shuffle for 20, we'll backpedal, we'll crossover, and then we'll sprint, just trying to get them loosened up. And then we'll go through a long dynamic warm-up. So that'll be our first phase of the end season on a Sunday. Then we come in and we look at, okay, where's the bruises and stuff. We'll talk to the guys beforehand so we kind of know. And then they'll come right in and we'll hit some form of some knee rehab, some band TKEs or something like that. Strict side step us taking care of the hip, knees, and ankles. And then right to the bar or some form of a squat, depending on where we're at, what phase, what week. So I break up my quarter 4 into multiple phases. We look at it in 4-week phases, but sometimes it's 2 weeks. It's whatever if we have a bye week. So this is Division II's first year of ever having a bye week. So taking that bye week this year for me was great because I was able to change the program up a little bit and really get after it when I knew I can afford to. And so Sundays where, you're going to hit 2 to 3 main movements. You're going to have some push and pulls. Actually, I have it written down so I can just read it to you.
Oh, yeah.
Looking at it, we'll have 3 to 4 training cycles with 3 to 4 weeks long. I've been trying to write out everything so it's easier for me to repeat it, but we run and squat heavy on Sundays. That's my philosophy. That's what it says. But you're going to, in that first 1 to 4 weeks, I'm roughly around that 65 to 80%, depending on what for the percentages that I want to see on the bar for that squat movement, whether that's a front squat, back squat, some form of a lunge, reverse lunge, step up style. And then you're going to get a good amount of pulls, and then we're going to attack the neck. We attack neck every single day in season, and I attack it 3 out of the 4 lifts out of season. Concussions, I don't know if me training the neck truly helps it, but this year we had 0 concussions, and so I said, well, we're going to keep doing attacking the neck.
Yeah.
So that's going to be our thing. And then at the very end, O-line and D-line will go through a partner-assisted stretch. And then the next morning, on Monday morning, all the other kids will come in. So the O-line, D-line, we spend a little bit more time because they're getting banged up a little bit more. So we try to be more hands-on with them, give them a little extra. And so we go offense, defense. My rookies we call them rookies, so we don't like to call them red shirts. The rookies will lift Monday, Wednesday, Friday. And then if they want to come on Sunday, they can. But most of them, if we're at home game, we'll get a lift in on Saturday.
Okay.
So we try to get 3 to 4, sneak them in with the rookies. And then everyone else is going to go 2 main lifts. It's going to be Sunday, Wednesday, based off of how the schedule works for us. It's not really the only time. And I don't mind lifting on Sunday, Wednesday, because the guys do a good job at coming in on Monday and Tuesday and just touching on a little thing.
Mm-hmm.
So that's kind of the big part of my program is. At Division II, I don't just have one weight room where it's just me and the guys can come in at any point. So they do a good job of like scheduling, like, hey coach, I'm free at 6:30 tonight. Like, can we come get just a little bit of this? Maybe, work some rehab stuff, or hey, can I get a little extra pump in on my, my back, just trying to keep it strong. So I'll stay. Like, there's many nights that, especially during fall camp and season, 2 out of the 5 nights I'm probably sleeping in my office.
Yeah.
Because it doesn't make sense for me to drive 20 minutes home.
Mm-hmm.
I'm leaving at 9:30, 10 o'clock at night. I might as well just sleep because I got to be here at 4 a.m. anyways. And so our kids do a really good job of buying into what we want. But we'll lift twice a week, and then we'll have that +1 day being a yoga day. And on Wednesday, it's more of a high intensity. And then like halfway through the year, we squat again. So halfway through the year, we go twice a week squatting. And you're going to get some form of an Olympic movement. We're going to get some either a high pull or a hang clean. I always leave the option up. And sometimes I think I'm being a little soft on the guys, but you can either high pull it or catch it. And you'll notice like first 4 weeks I'm just high pulling. But then they start noticing like, no, I want to keep banging on the shoulder a little bit. And then I might be an unpopular opinion because a lot of people are like, oh, they got enough banging on the shoulders. They got enough. But that's what we've been doing for the whole year. Why get away from it, right? I don't shy away from in-season training hard. And they're going to put the bar on their shoulders. They're going to take those contacts, and it saves us, in my opinion. We're building armor around our bodies for a reason, to handle and withstand a season. So, and then if I'm lucky, this only happened a few times this year, but I was able to get a lift in on Friday if we were home. And that was a cool primer day. And that was more of me just having fun, trying new things. I'm a young coach, and I'm not scared to fail. I'm not scared to go and think outside the box and really push. And so our kids buy into it. And I mostly do that with some of the guys I know might not be playing or might be, taking 15 reps here or there. But towards the end, I was able to have most of our starters come in and truly hit a good primer. And I don't know if it helped us win any games, but it was sure fun to get in and get after it. But we'll do plyometrics. Will be twice a week. We do a small, like a very invasive plyometrics on Sunday. Wednesday, we're jumping. Whether it's loaded or unloaded, assisted or not assisted, we're gonna jump a little bit. I feel like we jump year-round, so I'm not going to stop jumping year-round. Now, we watch the volume, obviously. There's obviously a lot of details that I'm kind of being vague, but there's a lot that we go into it, and when we get off this call, I'll show you everything.
For sure. And so going into keeping track of progress and, who's developing, what technology do y'all have in use?
We just got Force Performance X, and then I just ordered Force plates. They call them Force X through Vlad. And then the timing gates as well. So timing gates to me and the jump mats are what I use a lot, especially in season and out of season obviously almost every day. But in season, when they come out to practice, if I didn't think they hit enough volume or we didn't run hard enough, we're gonna put the timing gates out there, and you gotta get your volume in that you know how to handle. So I know what your adaptations and your response to your body is gonna be. Now some days like. We had a running back, Jay Mitch, he incredible young man, 5th-year senior, went in and dominated this year, came off ACL. There were some games where he ran for 200 and some yards, and it was like, you're relaxing today. But on Monday, you're coming in and getting a quick little, full range of motion squat, whether that's goblet or, just body weight, and sometimes you got the bar on him. But he'd always go and say, hey, I need to go hit the speed, right? And I said, yes, we're going outside and we got to run. Because that was the best indicator for me. It wasn't even if they were running the same speeds every single time, but if the kids knew that I need to go get this, like they wanted to make sure that they were staying fast. So we try to implement, and my coach did an incredible job of taking the philosophy of like high, low, medium days and looking at it as like on Thursdays, we wanted to hit a high day on our max velocity. Like, coach, run some goes. Get these guys, we need, whether it was Wednesday, Thursday, or Tuesday. And that's kind of how we planned it out. So to make sure they hit what we wanted them to hit. And if we didn't think they did based off of the trackers, we'd go back out and run. And then, so the jump mats, so that's on Wednesdays. Every Wednesday they're going to come in. We used to do it on Sundays, but I don't have a big enough staff. And to be honest.
And are other teams using your technology?
Yes, so I use everything with everyone. There's not just one team, and that's what gets hard on me and puts that amount of pressure, I say, because pressure makes diamonds, they always say. So I try to keep as much. I don't want to treat one team better than the other. Now everyone knows that I love football, but I try to give everyone everything I have. So we're using the bands, we're using the jump mats. Now like wrestling, we do it every once in a while when we need to, but I don't need to see if my wrestlers are jumping high enough. But what I do need to see is can they consistently move. And, like, our wrestlers are great. Our volleyball players, they know on Wednesdays we're jumping on the jump mat. When they got a game on Thursday, we're coming and jumping. Or if they go Friday, Saturday, then we're jumping on Friday right before their home match. We go through a primer, and they come up and they start hitting verticals. And they always seem to be PRing on game day. And it's more of them just having that mindset. Now, we try to be as consistent as we can with the jump mat. And so we have a valid or valid standardized test. But sometimes I just tell the guys to jump or the ladies to jump. I don't care if they jump and they bend their knees a little bit on game day. To me, those numbers are for their confidence. That is all it is. Numbers to me are for confidence. And if you want to take a hop into it because that's what you're about to go do and you want to know how high you jump, you go do it, girl. Like, you go get after it. I never want them to look at a number and be like, like, our girls like to weigh in, and every time they do, like, I want you to look at that and be like, yeah, that's right. I'm big, coach. I'm strong, huh? Yes, you are. Yes, you are. And then, the ones that want to lose weight, we help them lose weight. But we always tell them, like, you don't need it. You are perfect the way you are. We can clean you up and get you healthier however you want. But just understand we're going to be strong. So, like, with the force decks, I'm excited for those. More for Coach Ivy. Coach Ivy loves them. He did it at Jack State a lot. That's kind of how they ran their program. So I always say, like, I don't have the NOR boards like we did at Arkansas, and we don't have the athletic and sports science team that is able to give us all this data, whether my left or right leg's stronger or my right or left leg, are stronger, right arm, left arm. So getting those, I think, are going to change my programming a little bit. But at the same time, we hit unilateral a lot. And I look at it as I don't need the computer to tell me I'm right or wrong. I'm trusting that I'm doing it right. Now, this is just extra confidence in myself to be able to say, hey, we did it right. And so Coach Ivy is going to be full hands on deck on that. I'm going to try to learn it the best I can, but I'm kind of stuck in my ways a little bit.
Yeah.
I'm very old school. I believe that the work is the work. Sometimes you just got to do hard work to do hard work. And then new one that we just got, Performance X, they make these bands. So we have those half racks that are real old and they don't have the bars coming out. And I was thinking about welding some so I can do some band resistant stuff. But then I've met this company at the CSCCA conference and kind of just sat down and I felt like he was for the small schools. I mean,
Is that the company that has the tracks and the racks?
Yep.
And you can, okay, yep.
So we got the ones, we didn't put them in the platforms. Financially, it just didn't make sense, and for what we do, I didn't need it yet. Maybe in a year or two, if by the grace of God, I'm still here, then that's what we'll do. But putting them on the racks, I've been drilling them in myself. So like a lot of the stuff that I do, like the office I'm sitting in, I built it. Like we put up all 4 walls. We didn't have an office, and I was like, don't worry, we'll build one. But like we're drilling them in, and like we haven't used them with the guys yet. But like I've been going through the last 2 weeks messing around with them, just trying to really, like I said, I don't program anything I haven't ran before. I need to know how I feel, so I know how they're gonna feel. I try to do the same amount of running, try to do that. So I'm excited for them though. I think they're gonna be a game changer. We got chains, but like this is a different style, different adaptation in my opinion, and I'm excited to kind of see what it brings to the table and where we can go with our program with it. But to me, those are probably my favorite buy that I've gotten so far, and we haven't even used it with the guys.
Yeah.
But Coach Ivy's going to tell you, those force plates. He ran a lot of them with the Jack State when he was there for football. And the way they used them every single day, whether it's checking to see if we're near their peak or whatever. So he's going to be pretty hands on deck, and he wants to run the kids through it almost every time they come in. So I'm excited to learn that and what they're going to do with it, because that's more of I'm going to run the program, and he's going to tell me if we're doing a good job or not.
Yeah, for sure. So are you a software guy or Excel guy? How
Excel.
do you track everything?
I'm Excel. I live and die by Excel. Everything I type into is going to be based off Excel. Now, before I got here, we used Team Builder. I still use Team Builder because it allows us to put it on these iPads, and it's a great company. I mean, for what I wish it was a lot different, because I like to be able to control a lot more, but
Yeah.
Team Builder is great, but I still put everything on Excel, and I still pass out sheets, and I say you can look at the sheet or you can go on your Excel or on your Team Builder. I just believe I like paper. I like to be able to sit here and look at the program. I like to be able to write the notes right then and there. I like making cards because I feel like the day I stop using it, I'm going to lose it. And I'm not real tech savvy, but when it comes to Excel, I feel like I can hang with some of the best of them. Besides Human over there at Permian Basin, he's a machine with the yeah. He's pretty good at that. But yeah, I'm a big Excel guy. We don't pay for anything. To me, that's just we're getting into money situations now. Where it's like there's so much better money we could put into the nutrition center that we built, and continue to put that. This couple hours a day that I got to spend on Excel, that's fine with me.
Now, do y'all have a nutrition center? I think you
Yeah.
mentioned it earlier.
So we have a great nutrition center. I'm pretty proud of what we have. Every week it seems like we're building it up, getting it a little bit better. But we have 2 refrigerators, always fully stocked with Uncrustables, bananas, apples. Cherry juice is a big thing that I'm a big believer of.
Now, do you go get the supplies or do they drop it off?
So I can go to Walmart or Sam's Club if I need to. I have a school card, but I have to get approval for it all the time. Every time I want to spend a penny, I got to ask the president, hey, can I spend a penny? And then we also have a thing that we can order through the CAF, through Airmark. And so most of my food that we order is through Airmark. I'm able to get on their database and look at what we can get cost per package and see if we can't cut it down a little bit. So that's been nice. I just sent an email to the director, Stephanie, over there in Airmark, runs our CAF, and I say, hey, looking at the catalog, can I get this? Can I get 5 cases of this, 6 cases of this, 2 bundles of bananas, case of apples, and then I have to order chocolate milk through a whole different department, which I kind of don't like, but right now I'm trying to stay local. There's some local Iowa dairy farms that I think we can get dispensers and they'll set us up. So that's what I'm working on right now. I'm just trying to continue to make the nutrition center a foundation, because as much as we're training, nutrition is the only reason we're going to stay where we want to be, right? It's going to continue to allow us to grow and feel in the body.
I believe that's the biggest difference in Division I and Division II.
Well, I fully 100% agree. Like at the University of Arkansas, we had a dietitian named Julia, and she is phenomenal. I believe she's working at an Army base or something like that right now, and I try to soak up as much as I could from her. I would sit and just listen. Sometimes I don't even think she knew I was in the room because I was just trying to listen to her, and she always talked about this cherry juice and how much it, the ligaments and stuff like that. So that was a big push that I made here, and I took a lot of, so we have a budget of I think my budget total is $4,000.
Yeah.
That's what it is, guys. Division II, $1,000 to work with. So I said, I need to figure out how much it's going to cost to take care of our athletes the way I believe they need to. I want to be able to give them, 500 to 700 calories based off of where they're at and what they need. And so I fundraised, a good amount of money to make sure that I can do that now. So we worked hard to make sure that the nutrition center is the best I can make it at Division II right this second. Now, I'm always trying to find new ways. We're trying to do a smoothie Friday and, make fruit smoothies and stuff like that, trying to just add a little flavor here and there. But for the foundation of what we got, I do believe we got a good scenario going. It takes hard work. It's a lot of phone calls and moving pieces, but once it all came together, it's one of my prouder things that I've done here at Upper Iowa is to get that to where it's at.
For sure. Man, like I said, you're well known. Everybody loves you, not only from the players, but other coaches wanted to hear from you. So I just want to say, man, it was great talking.
Likewise.
Any shout-outs before we head out?
Yeah, obviously my staff, I feel like they should be right behind me, because as much as people might say they like me, it's because of them. They allow me to be who I am. To young coaches, don't forget about hard work. Be surprised how many times I get calls from guys and it's like, oh, can I get a paid internship? Or, coach, I only want to work one team. It's like, don't individualize in one team as a young coach. The best thing that's ever happened to me is working with multiple teams. Let's see, big shout out. I think next one you should talk to is EJ Crease at Shadden State. He's been doing it. He actually built the foundation, was the first strength coach there, I believe. I might be butchering this, but I'm pretty sure he was. And at Shadden State, they got something special. They run a great program. Chase McClendon over there as well, their assistant. He's been incredible. You already kind of talked to my family tree. My guy at Harding, I got to sit down with him at a conference, and I felt like I talked his ear off. But
Yeah.
he does some cool things with his speed work and agility work that he does, and I think that's something that is special. But really, what you're doing here with getting smaller Division II schools and not so much of the SEC Power 4 schools, I think it's incredible to put the spotlight on us. But also, like, don't forget who you are. For you guys who don't know, like, I've done research on him. He knows what he's doing, and he's a hell of a guy at it. Delta State, you did your thing. Ferris, you're killing it, right? Continue to work. Repetition builds instinct, right? That's what I'll end off of. Whether you do something right or wrong, you're building an instinct. Always give everything you got to these kids.
There's a lot of trial and error for sure.
Trial and error. Don't be scared to fail. Don't be scared to fail. I mean, the only way to grow sometimes is to fail.
For sure.
But I
Thanks,
appreciate
Coach.
you having me on, Coach. I really do. Thank you. I'm grateful
Love it,
for
man.
this.
Good content.
We'll definitely have to probably do this a few more times because.
Thank you for tuning in, and if you enjoyed this episode, don't forget to subscribe and leave a review. You can also follow us on Instagram for more updates at Under the Barbell Strength Podcast, and if you know someone who would love this episode, please share it with them.